astronauts, it's me, Brandy, and welcome back to Astro-Tarot Research. I am super excited for today's reading as always. We have 5 piles to choose from, and this week's pick a card is how would your friends describe you / what your friends think of you. I kind of feel like those questions go together because how they describe you would be pretty much how they think of you, right? So I am really excited to get into these piles. I wanted to do 6 piles today, but I didn't have enough space on my table. I'm going to figure that out next time, and hopefully I can get 6 piles back in there. But before we get started, I do want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell to stay notified, and feel free to follow me on Instagram at Astro_Tarot Research, where I post astrological insights and tarot insights and all that jazz. But let us get into these piles. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, and pile number 5. Before we get started, I did want to say that I am in the middle of editing the astrology video. I know it's been like forever since I posted that. Trust and believe, I have been working really hard on it, just research wise. It may not show up in that way, but you guys know I give a lot of information. So look forward to that video. Hopefully I have it up by next week. It has been quite a ride trying to edit that video and do all this research, and if you see the video, you guys will know that I've done a lot of thought and effort into it. So let's get into these piles. I don't want to waste any more time, so just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey, pile number 1, let's get into how would your friends describe you. So we have the Tower, the Lovers, the 10 of Cups, and the 7 of Pentacles, and your astrology card is Shravana. Okay, so this is pretty interesting here. So if you don't know much about Shravana, you should go check out my Shravana video where I get into a little bit of the personalities of Shravana people. But Shravana is known as the star of learning because it has to do with being in tune to the people around you, pretty much paying attention to what's not being just spoken to you, but like body language, pitches in people's voices, certain dialects. It really is the star of learning just because it's about picking up on things intuitively, or even just kind of practicing things over and over. A lot of Shravana people as well will like to, I guess, diddle with things, or like try to invent things, try to make things more efficient, try to figure things out, a lot of problem solving here. The original person who Sherlock Holmes was based off of, pretty sure he had his moon in Shravana. It's like a 50-50 shot, but based off of everything I have learned about Shravana, the likelihood of him not being Shravana is pretty slim. A lot of psychic people will have Shravana placements, but pretty much that gives you the basic gist. So they see you as someone who is either very in tuned, and I'm gonna go with the more positive aspects because these are your friends. They see you as somebody who's very in tuned, someone who picks up on what people aren't saying, someone who pays attention to other people's body language, someone who can be very intuitive, as well as somebody who may feel like they have a lot of, pressure on them, but it's really about managing that pressure and understanding what you can control and what you can't control. So nobody's perfect. So there's 2 ways you can see this. On one hand, they could see you as somebody who may feel that sense of, pressure and having to perform. But on the other hand, they can see you as someone who overcomes those fears and is just generally very nonchalant. So Shravana goes both ways. It either makes somebody super fearful, or it makes them just very like, peace and love, peace and happiness, I'm not going to worry about it. Because we have the Tower here, I'm going to lean towards the first option for a lot of you, only because the Tower is pure chaos, okay? And so it really does make me think that, like, not all the time, but a good amount of times, I have a feeling that you have this reflex when things don't go, the way you would like them to go, that you can feel a little bit like panicked. But with the Lovers and the Ten of Cups here, it makes me feel like that you sort of reel it in and you bring that sense of control. Because whenever I get the Lovers, I pretty much get things to go smoothly and to be very balanced. So even though you were shaken at first, you're still like working towards, you know, not getting into panic mode, where you may have done that in the past or something like that. Especially when we come from, before the Tower, there's a devil, and the devil's all about being consumed by your fears, feeling out of control, being, you know, manipulated and stuff. So it makes me feel like in the past that you may have had some bad habits, but now you're like at a place where you're doing the steps in order to keep that strong mental health, okay? Another thing, you know, Shravana does is you may have this personality where people feel like you're like the detective. Like if they see somebody on, you know, they're on a dating website, they may give you this person's name and pictures, and you can kind of look them up and find them, okay? That's another thing that Shravana does. It really makes them pay attention to the little things. Look at this little detail here on this person's collar, and what is that coffee shop in the background, and let's look at the angle from the building surrounding it to see where this person took the picture. Like, they feel like you were that type of person, okay? Another thing we have with the Lovers here is I always get someone who is pretty much going to try to keep things very calm and calm and very like leveled. If this was surrounded by like another card that was more chaotic, then I would change this. But for the most part, even though you got a little bit of a spicy side where you may like to you know, plant a few bombs here and there for like entertainment, not like messing with people, but maybe just like say a few things for shock value. That happens too with the Tower, or just be like a truth bomb, especially with the Lovers being connected to communication and Gemini. So even though you may say a few things that may like throw people for a loop, or be like, whoa, where did that come from? Or I didn't know about that, or I didn't hear about this gossip, because Shravana is the year. So it does pertain a little bit to gossip to some level, even though I would say Dhanishta, the sign after Shravana, is more gossipy than Shravana. But they may feel like you have the juicy gossip here and there. And but for the most part, you're a person who is pretty much very level-headed. With the Ten of Cups here, we do have you being like family oriented, feeling like they feel like you treat everyone like siblings. And I say siblings specifically because we have the Lovers. So they feel like you're your family when you're like friends with them and everything. And not only that, but they do see that you are somebody who really tries to take care of how they invest their money and how they potentially grow their money. But you really do treat people like they're part of a big community. Like, you're always looking out for your friends. You're always looking out for their benefit and their happiness. You're not just concerned with yourself, especially with the Lovers here and the Ten of Cups being at the center of this reading here. They definitely get this vibe from you that you are, you're just a team player, okay? But man, that, I was just going to say that mouth is just like, wow. Another thing I've seen with Shravana people is they can be sort of like rebellious in a way where they may, I don't know if it's like, oh, we don't have any rules or restrictions on them, but they may feel like one of the ways to express themselves, especially when younger, things like, I guess it's like typical rebellion things for some people. For guys, it's more like they can get in trouble with the law a lot. For women, it's more like leather jacket, dye your hair, shave your head, get tattoos, have your boyfriend over like when your parents are out or something like that. Like kind of normal everyday teenage things, but the thing is, not every placement goes through that, and that's for another place. That's for another time and place. But Shravana here, definitely there is that that element, that rebel energy that I get with Shravana. They do want to go against the grain. They don't like the restrictiveness of society. You need to dress this way. You need to look this way. You need to act this way. They're going to conform to, or they would prefer to conform to however they want to live life. And I guess that's why Shravana is known as an outcast nakshatra, because the way they may dress, express themselves, it's not the strangest placement, I'll be honest, but it is one of the placements where they just don't like, they don't like that sense of complete and total conformity. A lot of Shravana people that I have encountered and studied do like to travel, as well as they will come in contact with a lot of cultures, and especially at some point in their life, they will sort of be like the odd man, odd woman out, where they may be in like a foreign country without any sort of guidance from other people. They just kind of have to make the wave and make the path for themselves. Okay, so that's why Shravana is known as the star of learning, because they're putting those intense situations where they have to learn or adapt, or life becomes very complicated. Another thing that I get with Shravana that connects directly to the 10 of Cups, a lot of Shravana people I have seen experience strong bouts of homesickness. So even though they travel far, they do always tend to kind of like come back or make their way to home in a way. They have a really strong attachment to their home environment, which is why I say that your friends perceive you to either be like family, like to them, or they feel like you are very family oriented. Okay, like you're somebody who just needs that close knit group of people, or have some sense of familiarity. Okay, that's how your friends see you. But yeah, 100% they see you as your own person going against. You're not like somebody here just to conform. You are somebody who's pretty good with money. They can count on you for like a good story. And for the most part, they just kind of feel like you're really good fun. You have good energy to be around. Okay. I mean, I don't know where else to go with this. Your friends really like you, so that's all I have to say. I haven't really looked hard at these cards, so I see traveling on it, and wisdom and religion and stuff like that. Outcast, Deva, monkey, and paid. Yeah, this is pretty much the general feel, the power to connect with others. That is Shravana, 100%. So they may also see that ability with you, where they notice that a lot of people around you will find you very relatable and easy to talk to. Okay, that is something, I don't know why I didn't mention that. That's probably one of the biggest themes of Shravana, even though they themselves are kind of like that outcast, that rebel. They don't want to play by the rules. At the same time, like, people really will relate to your energy. They just kind of feel like, wow, or at least that's how your friends see it. Your friends see that the other people are really relating to your energy, or really connecting to you just being yourself and putting yourself out there. Okay, so that is what I have. And yeah, I'm just going to leave you guys with that energy. And then also with the Towers and Lovers, I can't help but mention the sense of sensuality and sexuality, because one thing I've noticed about the moon nakshatras, which Shravana is a moon nakshatra, is they will attract a lot of partners, especially if you are a woman. It's like one person's in, one person's out. Like, so they may see that you too with the Lovers, where for them, they're always like shocked at whoever you're dating, or you're dating someone new or something like that. So that's what I have, and I will see you guys next time. Au revoir. Let us get into this and see, how would your friends describe you? So what would they think of you? We have the 9 of Wands, we have the Moon, we have the Knight of Swords, we have Uttara Ashada, we have the 3 of Wands, and we have the 10 of Wands. Okay. There's a lot of wand and energy here. You're feisty. You're very fiery. Like Uttara Shada and then all these wand energies. We do have the moon in the middle there too. So there is that sense of caretaker energy. Okay, so this is what I'm getting here. Specifically, when we have Uttara Ashada here, this is someone who just really will not stand for injustice, and they don't like when, how do I explain that? They don't like when other people are taken advantage of. They don't like having to stay in one sort of role that doesn't express truly who they are, whether that's a job or that's a situation. One way to think of Uttara Shada is we did have that transit like pretty much all last year, and even this January when we had the, was it uprising at the Capitol in America? That was like very Uttara Shada energy, because Uttara Shada wants to demand what is owed to them. Okay, and so they see that energy within you. They see like if they see you as somebody, if you feel like you are being taken advantage of, or if you were promised something and you didn't get that, they see you as somebody who will stand up to that. They'll say, hey, this is wrong. I will not stand for this, and I'm going to fight for that. So they see you as a fighter, especially with this 9 of wands here energy, and the 10 of wands and the 3 of wands. Like, geez, like you're like, you have a lot of energy here. 10 of wands here also represents kind of feeling a little bit overworked and worn out in a way too. So sometimes it's like, girl, you may be doing too much, or boy, or you know, guy, girl, whatever, you're doing too much. So there's that energy there. I have seen Uttara Ashada to be somebody who has a lot of strong sexual energy too, or just maybe somebody, I don't know if I would describe them as flirtatious, because any sort of thing that I've seen them with, they're not like flirtatious in the typical way that you would see flirtation displayed in movies, you know, like where it's like light banter, or somebody maybe like putting on like a sort of seductress voice or something like that. It's not like that energy. It's more like maybe they'll put on an outfit that is more seductive. I'm trying to think of Uttara Shada people. All I can think of right now is Sade, the singer. And you see what I mean? How you wouldn't just say she's playing like that like, oh, I'm in a swimsuit role, or like something like that. I'm dripping coming out of the water, or like, it's not like that energy, okay? But it is a energy which you would be expressive of your sexuality, or they feel like other people around you pick up on your sexuality, especially with the moon here. With the moon and another sun nakshatra, it just feels like a radiation of sexual energy. So they may feel like that you may attract a lot of people to you, okay? With all that fire energy and the moon, they see a lot of people sort of talk to you. The Knight of Swords, the communication, I guess for your friends, feel like they can be a little bit stronger. Knight of Swords is somebody who, you know, sometimes they don't put all the details and everything, and sometimes they be talking too much. I get it for both ways. I really do get the Knight of Swords for both ways. The moon here next to the Knight of Swords leads me to believe that you maybe talking too much but most of the time. But it's weird because when we have Uttara Shada here, they're not like known for being like talkers, especially next to the Knight of Wands. I don't get these cards to be talkers. I do get them to be like debating, like Knight of Wands will debate you. So you may be somebody who is very opinionated. That's another thing that I get from these cards. Moon here, obviously very sensitive person, creative, a little bit of a mystery to you. You really don't tell everything. And when you do tell stuff, it may be things that are like a little bit, you know, superficial, or like you may not just talk about everything that you do or say. They may feel like you're leaving the important stuff out, and you may not have the same feelings, but that's how, you know, your friends sort of feel. Three of Wands energy, always planning ahead, always trying to do something, especially when it's next to the Ten of Wands. Like, your friends really feel like you're doing too much and you're overworking yourself, and you may be overextending yourself to a degree, and they kind of feel like you need to like relax some, because you're just putting a lot of energy out there, and it's just going to leave you really burnt out. And obviously with the Three of Wands and the Nine of Wands and Uttara Shada, I get the feeling that they see you as somebody who's more of a leader than a follower. The moon can sometimes represent someone being a follower, but with all these wands, I don't see you being in a passive role. The moon could just be implying that you have a more feminine nature, or just a more secretive nature. But 100% you're a go-getter. You really put yourself out there. You really you're not someone who sit and wait for opportunities to come to you. You try to make your own opportunities, and you really try to be yourself. You're very, very outgoing. So they see that energy within you, and you have like a sense of youthfulness, because when we have the Knight of Wands, we have the Knight of Swords, we have somebody who's always willing to learn, and they want to talk to people. Now, they may not say the right thing all the time, and they may say things that may be offensive, or they may you know, want to just talk to like random strangers or something like that. That's the very Knight of Wands energy, Knight of Swords energy, sorry. And they're just a very sociable person, so they see that aspect of you being very sociable in a way. I'm not sure what else I could really say about the cards here, but definitely 100% you're not someone who can be controlled. Like, you're somebody who rather make the rules than follow them, especially when I get the Knight of Swords. These people can sort of like try to bend the rules in a way, and not in a bad way all the time. It's just more like they feel like, I don't want to listen to every rule. You can think of the Knight of Swords as like, or knights as teenagers. You know, teenagers aren't going to just follow every single thing that you say just because you said it, right? So they feel that way about you, where you sometimes may feel the need to sort of bend the rules. But yeah, 100%, you're a person who stands up for themselves. You're a person who will attract a lot of people. They see you as a leader, very, very creative life force. And then the moon here would indicate being intuitive, the usual. I'm trying to think of like anything. I got the moon like the other day for a situation, and it was just saying how the day just had many layers and depths. Like, I was just asking how my day would go, and the day was just so changeable and just so different. Like, it was like I lived like 5 days in one day. And so they may feel like there's a lot of layers to you, kind of like an onion. So there's always something new, and it's just never ending. It just kind of goes deeper and deeper into this well. And so your friends feel like they're always kind of unveiling different aspects of you that they don't know, that they didn't know. And so I'm not saying it's shocking to them. They just feel like that's just part of who you are at this point. And then what else can I say about this placement? You know, they really like to look after, it's just really all about like looking after the people around them and making sure other people are happy with Uttara Shada, because Uttara Shada is kind of like that right to pursue happiness, okay? It's about being able to have opportunities to experience independence and freedom, and not have to stick to one role, and just like express yourself, and as well as, you know, in society, without having to, you know, lose your own happiness or, you know, the happiness of other people. It's about finding that balance in between the two, which they see you really fighting for that personal sense of happiness and not giving up. Like, you don't have you don't have a passive bone in your body. Well, maybe a little bit with the moon here, but like they really see that more the fire side of you. But there is a more gentle side with the moon coming up as well. Very nurturing. I really do get the moon to represent, gosh, a lot of things. I guess in this case, it's just more mystery and more into the hidden areas. It could just be describing your interest into the occult as well, because the moon has to deal with that, or just themes having to do with, what are moon rule themes? Anything to do with like crime would be moon ruled. Anything to have to do with traveling would be moon ruled. Sometimes food. I don't know if you're really into food. If you really like food, that's something that would be connected to the moon. Or, you know, drinks and stuff. And it's things that you kind of consume and nurture your body with would be something moon ruled. I'm thinking wild animals. So I don't know, maybe like if you like talking to animals or you like animals. I get the moon to represent psychic intuition, intuitiveness, as well as communicating with people or things that other people may not be able to communicate with. Ghosts, spirits, like I said, animals, or just general, more practical level foreigners. So you may they may feel like you're more open to meeting people of different cultures and races and stuff like that. So they may see you as that. What else can I say about the moon? The moon can sometimes be patriotic, but not always. All I can think of is like wanting to do social gatherings and wanting to go out. None of these cards make me think, I don't know if you are an indoor person, but your friends see you as somebody being like really out there and wanting to, even if it's like you're at your house, they just see you as more social, okay? You could be social and throwing dinner parties and etc. at your house, but your friends see you as like, hey, I see you as somebody who likes to explore different things. That's what I've seen mainly for moon people. They're not as reclusive unless it's like Sharavana. But yeah, that's what I have. And I will see you guys. Oh, also the moon rules, how could I forget? Like intelligence and thinking and thought, okay? So even if your thoughts aren't always organized with this Knight of Swords here, there's a lot there. If I should say, there's a lot to think about. All right. So that is what I have for you. I will see you guys next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 3. Let's get started on your reading. We have the Knight of Swords, the King of Wands, the Page of Wands. Oh, I think that actually might be the King of Wands. Again, we have the King of Cups, the Hermit, and Chitra. Okay. Crazy how we got 2 King of Wands. Don't mind my yawn, guys. It is early in the morning here. So, wow. So, definitely they see you as someone who is very proactive. I always get the King of Wands to represent somebody who is following their passions or trying to follow their passions and doing what they love and wanting to be involved in things that excite them. As well as I always get the King of Wands to represent somebody who has a good amount of responsibilities that they need to take care of and they're on top of it. It's a very proactive card. So even if you aren't physically active, like with which I do get a lot with the King of Wands for being physically active, but sometimes it just represents, you know, having all these duties and responsibilities and things you need to take care of. Like, if you have an apartment that you need to, you know, clean, do things for, you know, you got to take responsibilities, laundry, dishes, you know, cleaning the place, making sure anything that is broken, you know, gets fixed and stuff like that. Like being on top of just general chores and duties you may have, from like picking up groceries to things having to do with, I run small errands all the time. I don't know why I can't think of anything right now. Vacuuming, things like that, delivering packages. The king, actually packages is more like a night thing, but basically the King of Wands is like, you know, king of their castle, and they try to take care of not only themselves but the people around them. I also get them for being someone in a managerial position, or maybe somebody who has, you know, they're maybe a CEO. They have people who work under them, and so they have to make sure that those people are doing their job correctly, and as well as they are being compensated for their work, and etc. So your friends see you as that sort of person, that sort of leader, that sort of go-getter, and the person who takes charge in situations as well. When we have this King of Cups here, we have somebody who is usually emotionally available, and I'm going to say that because we do have these positive cards surrounding it. It is interesting that I have Chitra. I have just like recently been trying to study more Chitra people, besides being very, I guess, vocal about their sexuality, or maybe I shouldn't say that, because it does depend on this Chitra person. Some Chitra people do things to like surprise people, like they may wear something or say something for like shock value. You have some Chitra people who take on like this more negative energy, where they can be like very critical of the people around them and how they take care of their responsibilities, or how they look, or something like that. But then you have the positive Chitra people who encourage others to, you know, express themselves and express their individuality and their own creativity. So I'm going to assume that you're probably this sort of Chitra person, because these are your friends that are describing you. And they really do see you as someone who wants to, you know, put themselves out there, who wants to really be individualistic, and who wants to rely on their own creative force. Like they see you as a leader, more so a follower. You're not like somebody who's going to follow trends or do something because it's like cool or whatever you want to call it, or trendy. They definitely see you as somebody who's just doing their own thing, and that is very, very, you know, positive, because I have seen a lot of Chitra people who can be very shy, and who can be very, what's the word I want to use? They can be very insecure about their appearance, or they feel like this pressure to conform to a certain look because it's socially acceptable, or it's acceptable for their gender. It seems to me like you're someone who is trying to break that sense of conformity, at least in your friend's eyes, only because we have that King of Wands energy coming up twice to like sort of represent, hey, this is me doing my own thing, okay? So there are Chitra people like that, but I have seen more of them be a little bit more shy. Another thing Chitra does is it can kind of give you some like very, you know, complicated family dynamics. So they may feel like there's that sense where your family is just a little bit, you know, we'll stick with complicated. It is a little bit of a complicated situation. With the Hermit here, we do have you being someone who takes on that very shy, the shy aspects of Chitra, in terms of, this is what I've seen. I've seen a lot of Chitra people like in person. They don't really speak up. They're very timid. But then when you get online and you see their personality, it's like a complete 180. They're very outspoken. They're very enthusiastic. Okay, so there is that sense for you where your friends feel like, you know, maybe either in person or online, it's something like that, like vice versa. Usually it's the social media that Chitra people are more outspoken on, but in person they're not like that, okay? In person they're a little bit more reserved, and so your friends see that in you, but I don't get the feeling that you're shy. Maybe shy wasn't the right word I should have used. I guess they should say you're a little bit more quiet in person, okay? So that's the thing that they may have noticed about when you interact with other people. Another thing about Chitra, and actually this might go for all Mars placements, is that love for music. So your friends feel like you just really have a strong connection to music as well. And then I've seen Chitra people be very analytical and very serious about their profession, as well as being very like into the occult or otherworldly things. Particularly it has to do, I've seen a lot of Mars ruled placements having to do with, I don't know, like I guess almost like ghosts or possessions, or you know, demons and stuff like that. Like I've just seen a lot of Chitra people be like around that energy or something like that. So there is some sort of like psychic link with this. So I don't know if that is particularly you, or they feel like you do have some sort of kind of strong intuitive vibes. I guess it does make sense. The King of Cups did come up as well, but definitely with the Mars rule placements, I've seen that connection to, you know, occult societies as well. Chitra people can also be very feisty. Definitely someone, even if you're a little bit more reserved in person, you do manage to get what you need to say out there. And there is a strong sense of emotional maturity and awareness with you that you have. Now, Knight of Swords, I always get this card to mean this person may not always have the right words, but it does look like you come from a positive intention and that you do have that strong emotional maturity. You just may not have the best way to express yourself all the time because it's the Knight of Swords, and so they aren't a master of communication just yet. But it's fine because your friends know that you're coming from a place of good intentions, and they definitely think that you're a person who's very good to get advice from, and will offer a lot of different perspectives. I definitely get Chitra specifically for women to be very like feminist. So I don't know if you're a woman and you're like very much a feminist, but definitely 100% a lot of Mars ruled placements tend to be a lot of feminist, and very much like to point out the differences in how people are treated in society based on gender or race or etc. or class, okay? But I've seen it mainly for gender and race. But 100% they may feel like you're very socially aware in that way. I just want to glance at the cards here. I'm trying to think of every Chitra person I know. A lot of Chitra people will sort of criticize pop culture or society. So for presenting images that can be very toxic. I love how they have architecture and creation on the card and the power to accumulate merit, which I've definitely seen for creativity, but that can really apply to all Mars ruled placements. More so Chitra and Dhanishta, where it becomes about putting your efforts into a craft, which we've already explained that with the King of Wands earlier. So it's not a surprise that we're getting this double energy here of they feeling like you're able to really focus and harness your energy into what it is that you wish to create. I believe Kim Kardashian has Chitra placements, and it's either her son or something like that, but you see how, you know, she set her mind to something and she became this huge social media personality. She has a way of wanting to express her sexuality out there, but at the same time, she's a businesswoman. So they see that element of being like a businesswoman, a businessman with you and wanting to be independent in your own way. That's something I should express. The need for independence with you is very strong, especially with this hermit energy here, where your friends feel like you're doing your own thing. You will go places by yourself. You don't always need people there surrounding you. and you're very focused, okay? I've seen a lot of Chitra people just sort of be very like, I need to do good at my job, and you know, sometimes they make mistakes like everyone else does, but there is that strong desire to want to be, you know, the best, which just reminded me of Soldier Boy, where I think he has Chitra placements, and he's always going on about how he invented this and how he started this thing first, because they do want that sense of appreciation for what they have put out there in the world. That becomes very important for Mars ruled placements to say like, hey, like, I deserve to be I guess accommodated, or like I deserve to be, I don't know if it's praise, I deserve that nod for my actions that I'm putting forth. Like, I deserve to have some recognition. That's the right word. Okay, that becomes very important for Chitra people, to have recognition for the efforts that they put out there, and they really do put in a good amount of effort, because Mars is the planet of efforts. So that is what I have for you guys. Overall, definitely, like, they see that fighter spirit in you. There's probably been a lot of crazy circumstances that you've had to like rise above, and you couldn't rely on anyone else. You had to like just go out there and do things yourself. There's probably some aspects of your personality which, you know, you don't express all the time, and your friends can see that with this hermit thing going on, where they're like, okay, you need your time to yourself, or maybe you don't want to, you know, talk about certain things at that moment, or you need some time to think. Like, they feel like you have that sort of personality there. Okay, so that is what I have for you guys. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to mention. One thing I want to mention about Chitra people that I've seen is, I guess this works for like Denishta too, but like it's another Mars placement. I've seen them ask like opinions of what people may think of, you know, certain ideas they put out there, or certain outfits, or wanting to be a part of like the pulse of like what's popular, what people are feeling, what people find relatable. Like how Doja Cat used, she's a Chitra person by the way, how Doja Cat used the TikTok silhouette trend with her song to put in her music video. So they try to keep track of what is popular, what is out there, as well as they want to, you know, not only just be a creator and do their own thing, but they want what they're doing to be, you know, accepted by other people. So even though you do have your own style and everything, Chitra people I have seen will ask, hey, does this outfit look great? So you may choose 5 outfits, but you may ask somebody opinion on those 5 outfits. So you're keeping your individuality, but at the same time, you're also appealing more to the masses or people that you encounter, okay? So that is something that I have seen, a lot of polling of opinions with Chitra people. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Your friends have a very high opinion of you. They think you work hard. I have also seen Chitra people. I think they're very pretty, in my opinion. So they think you, I'm going to just assume they think you look good with the King of Wands here as well. I do get that card for somebody who pays close attention to their appearance. So, and then the King of Cups, I get that for like cups I get for like a pretty face a lot. I don't know why particularly, but I do get cups to describe a pretty face, or a handsome face, I should say, for the men who are watching. So I'm going to leave it at that finally. I'm not going to move it on and keep talking about things over and over. But that is what I have for you, pile number 3. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. And au revoir. Hey, pile number 4, let us get started on your reading and how your friends would describe you. We have the Page of Wands, the 8 of Cups, the King of Pentacles, Judgment, the 5 of Wands, and Rohini. Okay, so from what I know about Rohini, this really matches up with this Page of Wands energy, in the sense that Rohini does bring out this sense of like innocentness and childhood-like perspectives, in the sense that like everyone's beautiful, or like just wanting to explore, get to know different things. Most of Rohini people I've seen really do like traveling, and they don't like staying in one place. Kind of like, you know, children like to go out and explore. Like if you just kind of left them on their own, they would just, you know, naturally explore. And so that's like the energy of Rohini. Something that could happen, which, you know, it happens to quite a few people who have Rohini, who may not be the best at expressing their emotions, is they may tend to intellectualize them. And when they intellectualize them, instead of just kind of feeling them, they often kind of like have this boil up of emotions, which can often lead to some mental health issues. So people who I believe have Rohini placements would be Kanye West, Azealia Banks, Lauryn Hill. And you can see how they have had all these kind of mental problems. I'm not saying that's the reason why, but I do know a lot of Rohini people who have had some issues with mental health, as well as there can be a tendency to cling to what you know, kind of like how, you know, kind of like how children will be taught something, and then when they're exposed to a different reality, it's such a shock, or they just won't believe it. So that's something that I've noticed with Rohini as well. And back to when I said when they tend to intellectualize the emotions instead of feeling, well, the feelings do have to come out. So it will come out usually in a creative manner, or like they write it, they sing it. Heck, maybe they just scream to the top of their lungs one day. But that's just something that I have noticed with people with this placement. So your friends, depending on what kind of Rohini person you are, if you're more expressive with your emotions, then they'll see you as, you know, just this kind of cutesy, bubbly like character, or person, I should say, versus if you're someone who has a tendency to maybe hold things in, intellectualize things, then they're going to see you as someone who can be, who needs a lot of help with expressing themselves and struggles with communication. Okay, so that would make sense to me, especially given the Page of Wands energy, because it is such a young energy, and all pages are messengers. So it lets me know that maybe not all the time your communication is strong, especially since we have literally no swords here. So that's something to think about, where your friends may feel like you don't fully express yourself. And the reason is, it could possibly mean that you just struggle with feeling vulnerable because you don't trust people around you to take care of your emotions. Like, you don't trust them to really care for you. So that happens a lot with a lot of moon placements, which, you know, the cards kind of reflect that with the Five of Wands here. I get this card to be like, people are you're kind of like scared of judgment, or that people attacked you or something. I get that card a lot for that. Along with the Page of Wands, which can be like very excitable, but also someone who can have a very like fiery, quick temper really quickly, and wanting to jump to their own defense all the time, especially with this combination Five of Wands and and this Page of Pentacles. So that may relate to you, that may resonate with you, that may not, but that's something the cards are showing for some people. They do see you as a very attractive person, and somebody who just, you know, looks good. I don't know if you know, have a special diet that you cater to, or maybe it's just your genetics, because I do have the King of Pentacles to represent, Pentacles kind of represent genes to me, like lineage being passed down, physical traits. So they kind of feel like you have very balanced features. Usually Rohini, I've noticed, will give a attractive, more so face, more so for women than men. But it really does give a very youthful and nice, softer features, or features that people find pleasing in a way. And with the Judgment here, they feel like you're very, very forgiving in a sense. Even if you guys, you know, don't see eye to eye all the time, they see you as somebody who's willing to, I guess, let things go. But not necessarily admit that you were in the wrong. You just like, okay, whatever. We have differences of opinion. Let's, you know, let it go. With the Five of Wands here, it doesn't seem that your friends think that you see their perspective, but they understand that you would just kind of like, you know, let's let, you know, old dogs die. Like, you're not here to battle them on anything. Another thing they do is they see you as somebody who's so, like I mentioned this before with Rohini, who is so willing to try different things, go different places, meet people, very sociable energy here, especially with this King of Pentacles and this Page of Wands. That's representing people, like talking to people, getting to know people. You may not, to your friends, you don't seem to be the most confident person, but you do seem to be a person who is willing to put themselves out there and to be themselves, even if you do get that judgment, which they kind of feel like you are a little bit scared of, but you do it anyway, is what I get from these cards, because we have this King of Pentacles. Pages, to me, most pages are kind of like shy, and they're a little bit hesitant, but they do it anyway. They're kind of like, especially the Page of Wands, they're so impulsive. But with this King of Pentacles energy, you're like, okay, yeah, there's some moments where I don't feel as confident, but you know what, I'm going to go for it, and I'm just going to be secure in myself. Another thing is with the King of Pentacles is they probably see you somebody who really has a strong sense of either their own personal morality or what they value in the world. They don't see you as a person who's flaky or like indecisive, I should say. That's a better word. They don't see you as somebody who's indecisive. They understand, like, if you're in a situation you don't want to be in, you're not going to stay there. You're going to keep it moving. And not only that, but they feel like you're the type of person, like if you go to a grocery store, you know, you stick to your list. Maybe you pick one or two different things, but you're not there for hours kind of lingering about. You're like, oh, I'm on a mission. I got this, this, and this. So they find you to be very decisive. And not only that, but they feel like you have your own strong sets of principles and rules that you like to live by, okay? Now, whether that was taught to you or not, that's something, you know, for each individual person is what I'm trying to say. Speaking of communication, man, mine's is really choppy today. But yeah, basically they see you as somebody who really does want to do the right thing. That's something I see with a lot of moon placements. Even if the results is not what you would like them to be or what your friends would like them to be, they see that you're coming from a place of good intentions. So that's something that they keep in mind, even if, you know, things aren't always, you don't always see eye to eye. They're like, okay, well, we know that this person is coming from a good place in general. Like, they see that within you. As well as I do tend to get Rohini to represent someone who really does have a lot of creativity within them and can be very intuitive, which makes sense with this Eight of Cups. So they really do feel like you have a strong sense of how to tune in, when to tune in and when to tune out to like this psychic energy that we have here. I really want to see what's like written on the card, see if it can jog any memory. Charisma, civilization, gentle, materialism, seductive. There is a strong sense of wanting to have company and to be around people and to have that strong sense of sensuality or with the moon rule placements, they always seem to never struggle to attract partners, is what I've seen with a lot of moon ruled placements. People just generally find their energy very like welcoming or innocent looking, or just like comforting in a way, because they'll tend to have baby faces or youthful faces, is what I've noticed, or like faces that you would kind of find like very trustworthy or something like that. So they may see that within you. I've also gotten these cards to be like, I get the Eight of Cups to be very attractive. I've gotten it to like describe like people like Angelina Jolie and stuff like that. And it's funny because Angelina Jolie obviously has either her sun in Rohini or her moon in Rohini. And so, like I said, it really does bring about an attractive face. So you are just generally an attractive person. So that's something to consider. But yeah, there is a sense of sensuality and seduction and really wanting to express your sexuality. So I do get that a lot, especially when we have this Judgment card here, and it's connected to Pluto, which is another planet that's about expressing sexuality. So they see that within you. I don't know if you're doing that with your clothes or if you're just very flirtatious. Five of Wands can also come up for flirtation in a way. So they may see you as a flirtatious person, or just see that you're as a person who really attracts a lot of different people. But for the most part, they feel like you're the friend that they can really depend on if they're in an emergency situation. For the most part, I don't know if they would specifically come for you for advice, but they would come for your help if you guys were in an emergency. So that's something to throw out there. And yeah, they generally just feel like you're a good-hearted person. But I don't know what else to expand on here. I think we've covered all the basics. They like with the intuitiveness and the attractiveness, sometimes a little impulsive or hot-tempered, really like to explore, put themselves out there. Not always confident, but for the most part, you are confident in who you are as a person. That is what I have for you, and I will see you later, pal number 4. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Astro_Tarot Research, and au revoir. Hey, pal number 5, let's get started on your reading and see how would your friends describe you. We have the 10 of Swords. We have the Seven of Cups, 5 of Swords, the Sun, 5 of Pentacles, and Ashwini. So we have a lot of cards having to do with conflict and, you know, stress and negative thinking. So they may feel like you're a little bit pessimistic or even a little bit paranoid, because we do have Ashwini, which is coincidentally the video that I'm going to be putting up on my astrology channel, so you guys can learn about the beginnings and the basics of nakshatras. But yeah, 100% Ashwini can have a tendency towards paranoia in a sense, or just expecting the worst, just because a lot of Ashwini people will undergo some circumstances early on, which puts them in a position where they cannot trust people, or it's hard to trust people, especially when it comes to their emotions and thoughts. It's a placement that can experience a great amount of cruelty, which is why you find a lot of Ashwini people to be very aggressive or highly detrimental to society, because when you are experiencing a lot of cruelty growing up, then that's something that you're being taught. So they may feel like that you have been put in circumstances which were not healthy and were very toxic, and because of that you may have a sort of negative thinking pattern, and it can be hard for you to trust people, especially with this 5 of Swords energy and the 5 of Pentacles energy, where you just feel like it could either mean you feel lack of support, or it has to do with feeling like an outsider, not being accepted, or not feeling confident. I've gotten those things for 5s. And then 5 of Swords can be not appreciated, feeling like you can't trust other people around you, feeling like other people are either taking advantage of you, etc., like that. So they may feel that energy that you can have some trust issues. 100%. Excuse my nose. I really do hate the summer and spring for all the allergies and stuff. But yeah, Seven of Cups does indicate feeling a strong sense of imagination and having options available to you. So without a doubt, your friends do find that you can be just generally an attractive person to people because you get excited over ideas and possibilities to expand out there. Like, even though you may have some sort of negative thinking patterns, it doesn't fully put you down, because you kind of go from this negative thinking to sun, like this positive place, back to this, you know, back to like, oh my gosh, what if this doesn't work out? Like, you know, feeling a little bit more insecure. Okay, so they see that pattern within you, negative, positive, you know what I mean? So they may feel like you're a little bit fluctuating when it comes to that, but they know that you truly don't give up, because when I get Ashwini, I can get a card where people are like very ambitious. So it's like that saying, it's hard to keep, is it a tough woman down or a bad, I don't know my sayings. It's hard to keep somebody down or something like that, and they kind of feel like that's you. You don't stay, you know, in this negative thinking place forever. You do try to throw yourself out there, and you know, time and time again, it does look like you are getting beat down. Sometimes it's other people, sometimes it's your way of thinking, but without a doubt, you don't stop trying, and your friends see that within you. And with Ashwini, I get this place to be, if we're talking just about appearance-wise, Ashwini people have very usually distinct looks. I need to stop saying one of the distinct looks that I've seen Ashwini people have is they'll tend to have a little bit far apart, or far eyes, a little bit more space in between them. Another thing that I see is big eyes. Second thing that I see is they kind of look like very model-esque, like they have very interesting features that just don't seem like they would mesh together, but they come together in a way that's very unique and very beautiful, is what I've seen for Ashwini people. Another thing with Ashwini people is they can be sometimes aggressive, but I don't see any wands here. So I'm going to go with the more outspokenness of that. So definitely someone who's going to put their thoughts and their opinions out there. Sometimes with Ashwini, there is a lack of consideration for other people. So your friends may feel like sometimes it doesn't seem like you're considering their feelings, especially with these two fives here, where they may feel like, oh, okay, this person's really not thinking about me or the situation that I'm in. So that's something with Ashwini, though. That placement that I've seen a lot. It's not necessarily on purpose, but it does happen, okay? And then another thing is definitely somebody who prefers being in a, I guess, a nice warm area. I don't know what else to say about that. So one thing that I have here with Ashwini kind of relating to the sun in a way is that strong sense of courageousness and really going for it and putting yourself in a position where you could potentially fail. So that's something that's very much Ashwini related. I really do get Ashwini to represent someone who's brave and willing to fight, as well as somebody who has a lot of unique different ideas, whether that's the way you dress, how hobbies that you may have, interests that you may have, which makes sense with this Seven of Wands energy, where it feels like you have a lot of different things that you want to put out there and bring into the world creative wise, which can be very difficult since they're next to these fives. You may not have the means to do so. You may not have the time. You may not even know exactly how to do it, but they do feel like you do have this huge source of creativity within you. Another thing that I have with this is Ashwini people can be very impulsive sometimes, or just be someone who works a lot, and because they work a lot, they can be undergoing a lot of different stressors. I was saying, Ashwini people can undergo a lot of different stressors, so your friends can definitely see the stress within you and your life. In a way, I feel like your friends think that you're thinking too much. Ashwini people can overthink things as they get older, just because they have made a lot of different mistakes, and so they can tend to try to look at things from a lot of different angles as they progress in life. I would say in the beginning stages, they are more instinctual when it comes to acting and doing what they want to do, whether that's a hobby that they have. It's less thinking and more acting, but then, you know, as they get older, they get more feedback. Then it becomes more analytical and more, what's the word for it that I want to use? More strategic in how they go about living their lives. For your friends, they kind of feel like that you are too strategic, you overthink things too much, and it may be causing you some stress, and it may be causing you not to achieve success as fast, or at least achieve it in a way in which they feel like you'll be happy with the results, okay? So that's how they're perceiving things. Another thing is, from this perspective, if you don't have like a good friend group, then this would be a lot of jealousy from friends, or they might perceive that you're jealous of them. So that's if you have like a more negative friend group. Yeah, pretty much that's that with the fives here. I do get a lot of fives to rule competition, so they may feel that you can be shady sometimes, or that, you know, basically they may be jealous of you, which I have seen Ashwini people to have a lot of people surround them which kind of really want their lives, or wish that they were them, or wish that they, you know, were like the Ashwini people, because Ashwini does seem to achieve a lot of success in a short amount of time, but that's because they have a way with pushing forward and pushing boundaries. Okay, there pretty much are no boundaries when it comes to Ashwini people, which kind of makes sense with this Five of Pentacles here, because I can represent Pentacles to mean Pentacles to represent boundaries, and Five of Pentacles can be a lack of boundaries. So for some people, this can mean your friends may feel like you have a lack of boundaries, but these are the more interpretations where if there's a lot of strife and tension within your friend group. So if you're in that situation, then that's something to think about, okay? But overall, 100%, they feel like there's a little bit of a fluctuating confidence. There's a little bit of fluctuating between positive and negative thinking. They do believe you have a lot of strong potential to get what you want, and you have a lot of creative ideas, and overall, as a person, you can be very unique. Not necessarily super nice and bubbly or anything like that. I do get Ashwini to be funny. So the Sun card here plus Ashwini, people probably think you're funny, but at least your friends think you're funny. But, you know, Ashwini's more like just doing their own thing, living their life in their own way, being their own selves, not trying to conform to anything, which falls into this Five of Pentacles energy, as I was saying, kind of like being like an outsider, being away from the crowd, not participating and having the same values and things that society has. So that's how your friends see. They see you as a very much a unique person, kind of like a one in a million type of person that you don't really meet too often. And generally, you can be very like outspoken and charismatic. So I wouldn't say all the time though, because we do have like this 10 of Swords and this 5 of Swords. So sometimes it's like your words can be very cutting. I'll say that. When I get the 10 of Swords and the 5 of Swords together, it's like somebody's like very dramatic with what they say, or can have some very intense dark thoughts or things like that. So that is what I have for you, pile number 5. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to add besides like the sweeping kind of general. Maybe your friends see a lot of people are jealous of you, because that really has come up quite a bit. I've seen with Ashwini, the strong, intense jealousy, especially I have to mention it with the 2 5s here. It would be weird for me not to say anything. So maybe they've noticed that, maybe they themselves have expressed that. Doesn't necessarily mean that they hate you or anything like that, but 100% there may be some of that energy that they see, or they may just feel like you're competitive or something like that. But just wanted to mention it. I'm trying to think about anything else that I want to add with when it comes to, no, that's it. That's all. I feel like I've covered the basics of everything. If we talk forever, then we're gonna really get into every aspect of this card, and it's like, who needs all of that? So that is what I have, and I will see you guys next time. Au revoir.